So I've gone ahead and I've put in the chat box for you the link to the document. You're more than welcome to make a copy of it, save it, print it, whatever you want to do. There's like one or two typos in there, forgive me, but you'll overall get the gist of what it is. I will be sharing the screen, so that part is going to work. And as I mentioned, we're going to kind of just go through and review these as an opportunity to get familiar. We're probably, because of this being an hour, we're probably only going to get through about the first 20, but you will have all 40 of them so that you can go through and look at them. So we'll go ahead and let me see if I can pull up the actual document itself. Let's see. So just so that I know, who is iPhone? I'm assuming Harrison from you trying before, but please let me know if you're in a position to be able to work through these, because if not, Chelsea, it's like you and I are going to be able to do a lot of these together.
All
right. So just to kind of take a look at these, so you'll see that each one is kind of listed. There's some internal monologue that's going to be in the scripts as well. I'm going to go ahead and preface, and I will share this again if we have any more folks join us. These objection handlers are older than I am, and that is something that is good to know, which is that most of the questions, concerns, things that are going to show up in our business are not new, right? I mean, COVID might be new, but the concept of there being volatility in the market is not new. You'll hear some of these objection handlers are like back when there was a recession. So what happens if I'm under, I don't have enough equity to be able to sell my home? Not really a situation that we have today, but it's definitely something that could potentially happen in the future. That's why I really want you to have a well-rounded response to these. And what I will say, which is most important, is that these objection handlers were written by an asshole. And I'm not talking about me, although I do love almost all of these responses. I share them with you because they're very direct. They're very forward. They're very short. Oftentimes, I find that if a script is very long and wordy, I don't know what I can cut from. I don't know, what's really substance and what do I not necessarily need to cover. So with these, being able to have a very direct response and being able to soften them or being able to put them into your own words, I find to be a little bit more effective. So I'll read the first one, both the call and response, and then Chelsea, what I'll do is I'll read the question or the objection for number 2, and then you'll read that. Don't worry, I'll kind of scroll so that we can look at that together. So number 1, the objection is, if I list my home with you and buy my home from you, will you cut your commission? I can appreciate that, and I want to be upfront with you and say, no, I will not cut my commissions, and for one very simple reason. As a professional, my time has a certain value, and I only work with people like you that realize the value of my service. And now, before you say anything, think about this. If an agent is willing to cut his or her commission just like that, how well do you think that they will hold up when it comes to negotiating the best possible price for your home? I want to demonstrate upfront how tough I'm going to be for you. Therefore, cutting my commission is not an option. Does that make sense? So that you can already hear some of the language, which is it possible that someone would ask you to cut your commission if you were to do 2 deals with them? And so we want to be able to know that we have a response. So Chelsea, I have to keep my promise to the agent from which I originally bought the house.
That's great. I can appreciate your loyalty, and that's a quality that I really respect in people. So I'm curious, let me ask you this. Has there ever been a time when you decided to buy something or do something and a friend said, hey, no problem, when you need help, I can do it. And in the end, because you didn't check around, you didn't really get what you wanted. Have you been there before?
Yes.
Well, I think you might find that this time is just like that time. And with that in mind, I'm sure you can see the importance of having me give you a second opinion. Wouldn't hurt anything, would it?
No, I guess not. All right, number 3, I have seen this marketing plan from many different agents. What makes yours different? I'd level shift. You know what? You're right. There are only a certain number of things any agent can do to get a home sold. And I think the final decision is not based on what I do differently. I think the real issue is how you feel about the agent representing you. So tell me, what qualities are you looking for in an agent? Do you see how I shifted from what do you do different to what qualities are looking for you? Again, those are kind of those internal monologues that are going to happen. I'm not getting an answer from anybody else. So Chelsea, it's you and I moving forward. This is kind of fun. We'll move much quicker when we're not having to like watch people learn how to read. So this one's a good one. So why is your price so much lower than the other agents that we have talked to? I mean, they have comps that show higher prices than yours.
It's kind of confusing, isn't it? I mean, you interview 4 agents and you get 4 different prices, right?
Yeah, why is that?
You're probably thinking, why did this person come in with such a low price? Didn't he want to get our listing? Well, my answer is yes and no. You see, there's a very big difference in the way that I operate and the way most agents operate. Most agents manipulate the computer to show figures that they think you want to hear. Why? Well, most agents don't do much or get much business. Getting your listing makes them feel like they're accomplishing something. Whereas I, on the other hand, sell homes nonstop all day long. Do you want to know why?
Sure.
I tell nice people like you the truth. Did you know that only blank percent of homes that are listed for sale actually sell?
No, I didn't know that.
There's a very simple reason. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Most agents do not have many listings. Therefore, convincing you to list your home with them becomes very important. That's why they'll tell you whatever price they think you want to hear, even if they know 6 months from now, you'll not be happy with them at all because no buyers will look at a house that is overpriced. Does that make sense?
Yep. Top agent alternative.
My comps show the price I have indicated. I'll take that listing if you will agree and sign an acknowledgement form tonight that you'll reduce the listing to my price in 30 days. I would rather see you turn down 10 offers than never get one.
Top agent alternative.
They emphasize list prices. All I'm concerned with is what is sold and what has closed escrow. You wouldn't want to base your price on erroneous info, would you?
And top agent alternative.
There are 2 places you can price your home. You can list it where it sits or you can list it where it sells. Which is better for you?
See how the answers get shorter and shorter as it becomes a top agent alternative. All right, so 5, I'll do 5 and 6. 6 is my favorite. You'll hear me use it often. 5 is, I'll sell my home when the value goes up. If a prospect has no reason to sell their home, this is a condition, and we cannot overcome conditions. We can overcome objections. So number 6, how much advertising will you do? Because I want a lot of advertising. You know, I understand that advertising is a concern. Are you familiar with the difference between passive and active marketing? Passive marketing is basically sitting around with your fingers crossed, waiting for a buyer to show up and buy your home. Passive marketing is holding open houses, sending out flyers, and advertising in the newspaper. You see, these methods are passive and you can't predict if they will work or not. Yet agents that don't want to work at getting your home sold will insist that they have sold many homes this way. And you know what? I agree. You can get a home sold that way, but you can't guarantee it. Do you understand what I mean by passive, basically sitting around to get your house sold? Active marketing, on the other hand, is much more aggressive and very predictable. I will be on the phone every single day and call 10, 25, and 50, even 100 people asking if they want to buy your home, if they know someone who would like to buy your home, or if they would like to sell their home. Do you know why I ask if they would like to sell their house? You see, the more signs I have in the community, the more buyers that will call on those signs. The more buyers that call, or the more buyers calls that I get, the more people I can show your house to. Now, which way, passive or active, do you think gets more homes sold? Would you like me to spend all my time and effort doing what is proven to get your home sold? Or would you like for me to sit around with my fingers crossed, hoping for a buyer that will happen to call? Top agent alternative is I advertise to the brokerage community. It has the qualified buyers for which we are looking for. You can go back to the difference between passive and active. All right, Chelsea, you're too busy. You have so many listings and we want someone that can give us the attention that we deserve.
I can appreciate that. And you probably haven't had a chance to think about the advantage I have over my fellow agents in town. You see, the more listings I have, the more signs I have on the street. The more signs I have on the street, the more calls I get from buyers. And of course, most of those buyers don't buy the house they call about, and many of them will be very interested in our house. Can you see the advantage of listing with an agent that has 20 to 30 signs on the street working for you?
Top agent alternative.
It's funny you say that. Benjamin Franklin said, if you need something done, ask a busy person.
Yep. All right. I want to find a house before I put mine on the market. I agree. Finding your new home is important. And unfortunately, the thing is that it may take as long as 3 months for your home to sell. Then it will take another 2 months to get all the paperwork done. And by that time, any home that you would have found would have already been sold. Let's get the listing agreement signed right now and get to work on getting your home sold tonight so you don't have to wait any longer than is necessary to get moved into your new home. Sound good? Top agent alternative is, I understand your concern about your new home. I've brought you a list of current listings that fit your needs. Check these out and we will start looking. Once this house goes under contract, we will put a contract on your number one choice, close both houses the same day, one move for you. You're in good hands, I'll take care of you. And then top agent alternative is terrific. Have you seen a home or are you ready to make an offer on one? No? Okay, great. Well, let me go ahead and schedule a time with my lender and my buyer specialist. They can handle that for you. Let's go ahead and write up the contract now. Chelsea, you don't handle homes in our price range.
You're right. I don't sell a lot of homes in your price range, and that's exactly why I'm here tonight. I usually sell homes in lower price ranges, and what I find is after I sell my clients' homes, a great deal of them move up to your price range. Therefore, it only makes sense that the next logical step is for me to start to sell your price range as well, considering I already have a relationship with many of the buyers that will be interested in your home. Does that make sense?
Great. 10, I need to net this amount in order to move. I have to be at my new job in 90 days, but I can't afford to buy a new home if I take a loss. I can appreciate the position that you are in. Many people in our area are in the same position, and I'm curious. Has there ever been a time when you knew you were going to have to make a sacrifice? I mean, you knew it was going to be tough, and in the end, after analyzing all of your options, you realized that there was really only one thing to do. Put our head down, grit your teeth, and go for it. But you found that in the end, it all worked out. You made it through the tough times and life went on, maybe even better than before. Has this ever happened to you? This time is just like that time. As you can see, the competitive market analysis shows that there is no way anyone is going to give you what you need to make this move. My question is this: is it more important to get you out from under this house, take the new job, and work through the tough times, or are you in a position to keep making mortgage payments on this house for a couple of years until property values go back up? What you want to do is you want to help your prospects to see that they have probably been in tough places before and they've made it through, and that this time is no different. Let's see, Chelsea, if I have to sell it at that price, then I'll just sell it myself.
I can appreciate your frustration with the marketplace, and I was considering what specifically causes you to believe that you can sell this home yourself for less than blank % of the home listed for sale with real estate agents are selling.
I don't know, but I just can't afford to sell at that price.
Aha, the real objection comes out. Now, oh, wait, that's not part of the script.
Still read it. Yeah, still read it out loud for sure.
Aha, the real objection comes out. Now dig more, find out the true motivation, and handle the objection the way I've already taught you to.
Top agent alternative.
No matter what you ask for, the homeowners are trying to save money by selling their homes themselves. I can create more competition through the brokerage community.
And here's a derivative of the same one. So if we have to sell that low, we will sell it ourselves and pay 3% to the agent that sells it. I completely understand your point of view, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and it sounds like you haven't been involved in this kind of transaction in a while. Can I tell you why? You see, agents work with buyers because it's easy. You show the house, the agent writes up an offer, and the agent on the listing side handles the next 3 months of legal paperwork trying to get the deal closed. Does that make sense? See, if you list your home for sale yourself, who will follow up with the 3 months worth of legal paperwork? You? And if so, what agents will want to risk the fact that you've never done it before? Let me ask you this. If you were an agent, would you rather show homes that were listed with professional agents that worked to get deals closed? Would you rather show a home and keep your fingers crossed, hoping that you don't get sued by the buyers because some legal aspect was overlooked by the homeowner and the transaction didn't get done? Which would you rather do? You see my point? Your idea sounds valid. It just doesn't fit in today's lawsuit happy reality. I'm sorry, are there any other questions I can answer before you sign the listing agreement? Top agent alternative from that is, that may sound good, but then nobody is pushing your property. If nobody pushes it, nobody shows it. And if nobody shows it, well, then I guess it won't sell. Let's see, we don't want to list at a price that it will get sold in 1 week. Chelsea?
First of all, would you tell them it was going to sell in a week unless they told you it was needed to be gone in a week? The only reason you would be getting this objection is if you were getting overly egotistical and ambitious and bragging. I'll sell your home in 1 week. It's more important to listen to when they want to be gone and tell them that your price will get them there on time and maybe even a week or two sooner. You created that objection yourself, so I'm not going to handle it.
Top agent alternative?
I'd rather turn down 10 offers than never get one. I'll work with you to get the right price for your home.
So I just had that conversation with a friend of mine this morning during lead gen. He called, he wanted to list his house. I told him, I'd run some numbers for him where he wanted to be based on what I could see. I really feel confident in 500,000. He's like, I was really hoping for closer to 550. Having this conversation, multiple offer situation, and I used that line. You know what? I'd rather you turn down 10 offers because we were in a multiple offer situation and it became a bidding war than to be overpriced and you not receiving anything. And so I use these all the time, and I definitely think that they are helpful. So let's keep going because this was his follow-up. We can always come down in price later. You're right, and I think you need to take into account how homes get sold. You see, if we come out of the chute with your home overpriced, all the agents that show properties will instantly write you off as a non-motivated seller. Can I explain what that means from an agent's perspective? You see, the higher a price is on a property, the less a seller needs to sell it. At least that's what the agents believe, purely from their past experience. Now, a non-motivated seller means that even if you come down in price later, two things will happen. Most agents won't even realize that your home has been reduced. Now you may say, can't we send them a flyer telling them that it's been reduced? Yes, we could send everyone a flyer telling them that the price has been reduced, but agents get 500 flyers a week, and there is a good chance that it will go unnoticed. If they see that you had the home priced real high in the beginning, that will tell them that you were kind of unrealistic when we listed the property, meaning that you didn't believe that what I was saying was true. You see, all agents interpret this as trouble when it comes to getting the deal closed. Do you understand why? If we price it to sell from the beginning, our odds of getting agents to show it are much higher. A top agent alternative is by the time the buyer for your home will have bought another, do you want to lose that buyer? And so where you hear the language about flyers is probably comparable to the emails that we get now. We get tons of emails every single day of new waterfront property or this one's been reduced. I don't open any of those. So this idea of that we get inundated with flyers, you can interchange the word flyer with email very easily. Let's see. Chelsea, we aren't quite ready yet. We need to finish a couple of projects around the house before we put it on the market.
I agree that making sure your house is up to par is important, and you probably didn't realize how little effect it will have on getting your home sold. Let's get your house listed for sale, get some of the top brokers in town to show the house to prospective buyers and get their feedback. The good news is you'll find out that maybe one or two of your projects actually get done, if any at all. I think that meant to say don't need to get done, if actually need to get done at all.
Only one or two of the property or projects actually need to get done, if any at all. Yep.
It sure would be nice to not have to spend a dime to get out out of this place, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Great. Which would be better for you, tonight at 6 or 7:30?
Top agent alternative.
This was me in Michigan when I was selling my home. This is hilarious. Great. Why don't we complete the paperwork now? And while you're doing your projects, I'll get the flyer done and paperwork process so that when you're ready, I'll be ready to go. We'll show it in 2 weeks. How much money will you spend on those? You probably won't make that money back. Let's just sell it as is and save you the time and money, okay?
Yep. All right. So 16, will you cut your commissions? Other agents will. You know, you're right. There are a lot of desperate agents out there, and I'm a little concerned. Can I tell you why? Do you own anything more valuable than this home? Could you say that it's probably your most valuable possession? So if an agent is so desperate that they are willing to broadcast the fact that they don't think that they have any value as a realtor, I'm kind of confused. Is that the type of person that you want sitting across from the negotiation table trying to negotiate you a better price? I mean, we're talking about a person who has already admitted that he or she doesn't even see value in himself or herself. Is that the type of person that you want to represent you in the most valuable transaction of your life? No? Good. Because if that was the case, then I should never have even come over, considering I work 14 hours a day and my assistant works 8 hours a day to get your home sold. And that's very valuable, don't you think? And so here's one for the top producers. I have to say something before I give it to you. The more conviction you have, the less you will get objections like this. In fact, this objection is purely a function of a weak presentation. If you sound hesitant, your prospect will begin looking for ways to exploit your weakness. I would interpret this objection as your prospect telling you, I don't think that you have any value, so you better prove it to me. So not a top agent alternative to cutting the commission is they may feel that they are worthless. If they will reduce their price at the listing table, what will they do at the negotiation table? I will be tough and professional on both my fee and your price, particularly at the negotiation table. For top agent alternative, commissions aren't negotiable with agents that sell homes daily. They are only negotiable with realtors who don't believe in the services that they offer. Now, you told me that you had to be gone in 90 days, right? You need a strong service agent that sells homes, right? All right, Chelsea, it seems like 7% should be enough to cover your expenses without paying an additional $250 transaction fee.
I can understand your concern. It's a lot of money. So I want you to look at it this way. Don't look at the money. It's really the peace of mind you'll experience when you use my service. Unfortunately, most agents don't run their business like a business. This means they don't have all the support necessary to guarantee your home will sell. And what is even more important than that is having staff necessary to get the deal closed. Did you know that only blank percent of homes listed for sale actually sell? No, even worse is this. Did you know that only blank percent of homes that get offers actually end up closing?
No.
The reason you're going to pay me more is simple. Every house I list for sale sells, and my staff gets them closed, so you walk away with a nice big check in your hand. I mean, that's what you want, isn't it?
Top agent alternative?
I have a licensed specialist who does nothing but track your transaction on a daily basis. You can lose more than $250 by not having someone watching your deal daily. One agent can't do it all. It's impossible.
Top agent alternative?
I understand. Remember, I get 3% of the 7%, which I split with my company. Then I take off for my expenses. The transaction coordinator is an insurance policy that your home will close escrow. But if you'd rather take a chance.
Top agent alternative?
When you get a loan, you pay points and a processing fee. It's the same thing. Isn't it worth $250 to have me and my 6 assistants working for you?
So here's one on the list that is pretty hard. So why don't you advertise? Everyone else that we talk to says that they do the same things as you, plus they advertise. Well, obviously that is a valid concern, and I'm glad you brought it up. You see, I want you to realize that if an agent tells you that he or she does the things that I say I'm going to do, which is to actively prospect daily, every single day to get your home sold, then he or she is more than likely stretching the truth a little bit. Can I tell you why I think that? You see, agents that advertise a lot don't want to work. So what these individuals will tell you is that they actively prospect every day to impress you. But let me ask you a question. If you could sell a home without spending 50% of your money, would you? I mean, all smart people would, wouldn't they? Either they're not smart or they're not telling the whole truth. Does that make sense? I'm going to do a caveat here on you don't hold open houses. Why? So open houses up until very recently were not very effective. People put a sign out about 30 minutes before an open house and they house sat for 2 to 3 hours and then they went home, right? These objection handlers were written pre-Zillow, pre-MLS notifications, pre-our KW app, pre this idea that we're going to go on Facebook Live and we're going to knock on the 50 nearest doors. So there is a certain level of that is involved in terms of why open houses aren't really effective. On a complete aside, to support this message and also be like, if you're a listing specialist that goes after listings and you don't really work with a whole lot of buyers, we know statistically that only about 3% of homes sell in an open house, which means that 97% of houses do not see any value in doing the open house. The agent sees a value in doing the open house because you get more buyer leads and you get to work with more people. That doesn't really help the seller as much as it helps you. So that was kind of where the language of you don't hold open houses and why that was there. If that bothers you in your belief system and you want to fight it, then just cross it out. You've got 39 handlers for objections, right? All right, Chelsea, we still need to interview one more agent, even though I already promised you that you would be the last.
Okay, first of all, this is not a real objection. They're just saying to you, we don't see why we should pay you money to sell our home. That's why you should leave. So what we need to do is flush out the real objection. Use the what specifically causes you to believe, but only if you're in good rapport. Otherwise, it might be a little too strong. For a less direct version that will still flush out the real objection, try something like this. I can appreciate the fact that you want another opinion, and the fact that I was told I would be the last agent interviewed tells me one thing. Do you want to know what it is?
Yes.
Somewhere, somehow, I've not completely convinced you that I can sell your home. So tell me, what is it specifically that is stopping you from signing the listing agreement with me tonight? Now you're going to get the real objection, and you can use one of the patterns I taught you to handle it.
Top agent alternative.
I can appreciate that before we met today that you set up another appointment with another realtor. I'm sure you'll agree that my qualifications will be tough to beat. I'll be happy to call the other agent, cancel your appointment, and it will be the one last delay in getting your home sold.
Top agent alternative, my favorite.
Agents work together. I'll call Michael and tell him your home is listed and they can bring their buyers anytime. Yeah. Here's another objection. For those of you trying to convert your real estate business into a real business, this means that you're asking your prospects to come into the office for appointments.
Good. Yeah, so we're gonna pause for a moment before we get there. Chelsea, your mic is live, so you and I are gonna have a conversation. For those of you that are on here but aren't in a position to where you can participate, obviously it would be more beneficial for you to participate, but at the very least, would love to hear from you about your thoughts on these objection handlers out of the first 20, right? Oop, we lost somebody. So Chelsea, going through these, how do you feel kind of going through these objection handlers?
They're helpful. You're right, they are. Some of them are a little cocky, but they're good, they're strong.
Yeah. And like I said, you're always going to be able to find certain opportunities to soften these, but I can't tell you how many times we've had agents that, they sat down, they were prepared for a listing presentation, and the person was like, we love everything that you said, and will you do it for 4%? And they're like, I didn't prepare on how do I have a conversation about cutting my commission. So this is, for me, the fact that you have something in your back pocket, even if it's very brass and it doesn't feel like it's your personality per se, I would so much rather you have something in the back of your brain than to have nothing and be like, I mean, I guess I say yes because I don't know how to say no without just saying no, right? Let's see, Jackie said, I feel that they would help me get to the point when dealing with objections instead of me not knowing how to respond right away. Yeah, absolutely. And that point is proven. Ian, I know that you're getting ready, but we will welcome your feedback at any point. Since it's much faster because it's just you and I, Chelsea, we might actually get through all 40. So let's keep going.
All right.
Let's see. So, share, darn it. So this is where it says it's important to us that you see our home, even though you don't think that it will make a difference in price. We want you to see it. We will only meet with you at our home. You know, I understand that seeing your home is important to you, and that's why I'm willing to make an exception for you under one condition. If I decide to come over to your house and I present something that makes sense to you, and you understand exactly how I'm going to get your home sold, and you feel comfortable with it, are you going to list your home for sale with me at that point? If the answer is yes, go. If the answer is a maybe, then you need to decide what you will want to do. Top agent alternative to this is, why don't I come by on my way to the office tomorrow morning? I'll look at it then and see you here at 5 p.m. tomorrow night. That way I can show you our office setup. And top agent alternative is, I will see your home once it's listed. You see, I spend all my time out in the field looking for buyers to sell my listings. So when your home is listed, I will be doing the same thing. So I'm going to talk about this one for a moment because I know people go, well, don't you need to see the house? No, I don't, quite frankly. You know, you and I are going to have a conversation before the listing appointment. I'm going to ask you about updates. I'm going to ask you about flooring. I'm going to ask you about the type of appliances, any improvements that you've made. I mean, unless your toilet's made of gold, there's probably not a lot of improvements that you can do on a resale home. Now, take it a step further. Where I sold real estate before coming over here to become a coach was in New Tampa. And New Tampa is very much like Riverview or Brandon or some of those areas that are master plan communities. If you were in the GL community, I could ask you what model you had. I can ask you, did you pick the espresso cabinets or the white cabinets? You know, do you have carpet or no carpet? I knew your floor plan. I knew your square footage. I knew exactly what the closet space looked like. Your competition pretty much were other houses that looked exactly like yours that were built around the same time. No, I did not need to see your house in order to properly list it. But you might have in certain neighborhoods, especially here in St. Pete, right? We've got a McMansion right next to a cracked inn. That's okay. But still, I'm going to have a conversation with you. The value is probably plus or minus about $50,000 in the neighborhood, depending on the condition of the home. If it's in moderate kind of condition, right? If you've not made an update in 30 years, I'm going to take that into consideration as well. So this concept of, oh, you absolutely have to see a house. No, I don't. I mean, I know what flooring looks like. I know what a bedroom looks like. I mean, we can get the specificity, but this is when your business gets very big, because think about it. If I have to get in the car and go to an appointment and then leave that appointment to go on another appointment, you know, I might be able to schedule 3 appointments in an afternoon if they all come to me, where if I have to go to them, I might only be able to get in 2. So this is really from a scalability aspect of your business. Again, when we build where you're doing over 200 closings a year, we're going to probably start talking about how do we streamline your business a little bit. Okay, Chelsea, we want to have an exclusion in the listing contract in case our company, friend, or neighbor wants to buy it.
I agree that it's important to be thorough when we're filling out this contract. And let me ask you this. Why haven't you already sold the home to your company, friend, or neighbor?
Well, no one has made us an offer yet, but you know what? We think it might be possible.
Well, your personal marketing hasn't worked so far, and that's why you're hiring me. Is that right?
I guess that's right.
So I'm curious as to why I should waive my commission. If my marketing works well enough to convince your company, friend, or neighbor to buy it, isn't that what you're paying me to do in the first place? Aren't you hiring me to let the public know that your home is for sale and convince people that they should buy it? So why would I cut my commission if my marketing works?
Top agent alternative.
You have 24 hours to let them know you're listed. Call them. They do or they don't.
So the only way that you can deliver these is if you're charming, right? Like that's pretty clear. But you know that those are very valid questions, right? So you know, let me ask you a question. If your personal marketing hasn't worked and that's why you're hiring me, I mean, that is why you're hiring me, isn't it? So having those conversations where people can have the self-realization makes them realize how sometimes it might seem logical until you walk them through the process of understanding why they're hiring you in the first place. Let's see, we want to compare what you are saying to other realtors. So I'd use the what specifically pattern, right? Great, I think that that's one of the best things that you could do. And before I go, tell me, what is it specifically that is stopping you from picking up that pen and signing your home with me? Hey, I understand, and let me ask you this. If I could help you to realize that your home will not sell for $1 more than I have told you, if you felt completely satisfied that it was true, would you still want to waste your valuable time talking to another realtor, or would you just list with me tonight? So that's the thing where we go, great. And then we go back through and we handle the objection. So whenever someone says, we want to pray about it, we're great, let's pray. Grab my hand, let's pray together. If they say we need to sleep on it, okay, well, absolutely, and I understand. And yet, you know what that tells me? That tells me that somewhere, somehow, I've not answered all of your questions. And so that's probably why you want to take the evening to think about it. So what specifically is it that you want to sleep on tonight? Isolate the objection, handle the objection, get them to sign the paperwork. Why should we choose you? Well, they should choose you because of you. You've got to figure out what makes you valuable. We want to think it over, right? So here's just like what I was saying. I can appreciate that. Making a logical decision is important. So tell me, what is it specifically that you're going to have to think over? We handle the objection, we get to move on to it. All right, Chelsea, as an expired listing, they say that the last agent never showed our home himself, and neither did anyone from his office.
Did they promise you that they would be showing your home nonstop?
Yes.
Well, then I can appreciate what you're telling me. You see, I promise you I will not be showing your home. Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
The agents not in my office are not part of the top agents in the area that sell 88% of their homes listed for sale. I'm curious, do you want me marketing your property to the people that sell the homes or the agents that just do okay?
Oh, well, the agents that sell homes.
That's why I promise to market your home to the agents that sell homes and not to the agents that don't. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
I thought so.
Top agent alternative.
You're kidding.
Okay. 27, we will only list with agents that have brought clients by while we were selling on our own. I'm going to pause for a moment. So when going after listings, and I built my business going after expired listings and for sale by owners, specifically expired listings, because when I got into the industry in 2011, there were a lot of expireds, right? We were kind of on the uptick of what was happening with the recession. So there was just way more expireds than there were for sale by owners. However, so from the very beginning, from day one, I have identified myself as a listing specialist, right? Now, that doesn't mean that I don't also work with buyers, but I'm going after listings. I'm a listing specialist. And so the language here kind of speaks to that. And I want to encourage you to refer to yourself as a listing specialist, right? So the objection again is we will only list with agents that brought clients by while we were trying to sell it on our own. I can understand why you might think that that's a smart thing to do. I mean, it only seems logical, doesn't it? You're right. It does seem logical unless you know how the real estate business works. Can I let you in on a little secret? Well, there are two types of agents. There are listing agents and there are buyer's agents. Of course, both listing and selling, but let me ask you this. You want to list your home for sale and get it sold, right? Then you want an agent that knows marketing. Does that make sense? Agents that take buyers to for sale by owners aren't marketing agents, they are buyer's agents. They specialize in selling one-on-one. So I'm curious, which do you think is going to get your home sold? An agent that tries to sell people one at a time, or an agent that sells to the masses trying to pinpoint that one perfect buyer for your home? I'm sure no other agent has taken the time to explain that to you, did they? Do you see why it makes sense to list with an agent like myself that spends all day marketing your property on a mass scale? All right, Chelsea, we want to try to sell it ourselves.
I totally understand the thought of trying to get a home sold yourself. I mean, let's face it, saving that commission can mean some good money in your pocket, right?
Right.
So I'm curious, are you familiar with the difference between passive and active marketing?
No.
Real quick, passive marketing is basically sitting around doing nothing, like holding open houses, sending out flyers, and advertising in the newspaper. Were you thinking about doing any of these things?
Yeah.
I was afraid of that. These methods only work about 25% of the time, yet agents sell this concept as if it were the only answer to all your problems, right?
Yes.
Which makes you think, well, what's so hard about that? I could do that, right?
Right.
The problem is that doesn't get a home sold anymore. Do you understand now what I mean by passive, sitting around with your fingers crossed, waiting for the buyer? Active marketing, on the other hand, is literally getting on the phone every single day and personally contacting as many people as I can, 25, 50, even 100 a day. The key is asking them if they would like to buy your home, if they know someone who would like to buy your home, or if they would like to sell their home. Do you know why I ask if they would like to sell their home? Because the more signs I have, the more buyers calls I can get to show your home. Does that make sense? Now, which way, passive or active, do you believe will get more homes sold? And you understand that I'm doing active marketing on you as we speak, right? So, how many people do you think you could call a day to try and get your home sold? And by the way, have you ever done telephone soliciting before?
Top agent alternative.
You can try it. Lots of people do. It's like going to Las Vegas. Millions of people go, and every now and then someone hits the jackpot. But the vast majority of people lose money, or Las Vegas wouldn't be there. Every now and then a seller hits the jackpot, but the vast majority needs an agent, or the real estate industry wouldn't be here.
Top agent alternative.
Let's talk, okay? John, you're an attorney and try cases in court daily. I can't imagine walking in and trying the case myself. I'm a professional real estate agent. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to release you from the extra stress. I have a record 98.8 full contracts. I earn my commission. I bring you top dollar. I close the deal.
All right, let's see, 29. We have a good friend in the business, and he says he's going to steal this one from his dad. So I can appreciate that. Almost everybody does. So when would you like to see how 85% of the homes that I list for sale sell, and why only 40% of the homes listed with other agents sell? Tonight at 6 or tonight at 7:30? Top agent alternative. Your friends want the very best for you. I am happy to call them for you. Top agent alternative is, are you willing to jeopardize your friendship? Or this one is one that I've used as well. You owe your friend friendship. You owe me nothing, but you owe yourself the very best. Don't you want the best agent working for you? Let's see, 30. 10 other agents from your office have called today. I wish you would just lay off.
I can understand your frustration, and you're beginning to realize that our office gets the job done.
Yeah, but you're driving me crazy.
I agree. It's a living nightmare, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And I'm sure you can see that when you list your home for sale with one of the agents in our office, you're putting one of the most powerful real estate teams in the area to work for you. I'm curious, did you want to join a wimpy, non-aggressive agents working to sell your home, or would you rather have hardcore, aggressive agents like those in our office?
Top agent alternative.
Our company wants to be sure your home gets sold. As you can see, we are the most aggressive agents in town. When today can we get together?
Let's see, 31 is, we told you we weren't going to list our home until next year. Why don't you stop calling? We will call you when you're ready. It says, well, my friend, this is a condition that you've created. If you write a follow-up letter that prospects find valuable, then you can call them every month and talk to them about what you wrote. But since you send your regular old real estate stuff that nobody sends and no one cares about, especially your prospect, you just look like a pest and there isn't much that you can do about it. Top agent alternative is, people's plans change quite often, and you may not have my name readily available if your needs change. The aggressive approach is what you will need to find the right buyer for your home. Top agent alternative for this one as well is, because we find people's plans change, we like to keep in touch. Who do you know who's ready now that I can contact? Let's see, 32 is, your office is not close to our home.
I agree. It's not right around the corner from your home. And tell me, why is that important to you?
Now we're going to get the real objection. It's going to be more service, less cost, whatever, and then we can handle that one. Go ahead and take this one, Chelsea. We'll list after the holidays.
I think that's perfectly valid. And tell me, how many days during November and December are you going to want all to yourself?
Probably about 5.
5. That's great. Did you know that exactly blank percent of the homes listed for sale actually sell?
No.
Did you know that right now there are 25 homes listed for sale?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you know that the Board of Realtors showed that last year more homes came on the market in spring than any other time of the year?
No, I didn't know that either.
So I guess my question is this. If I promise to keep everyone out of your hair for those 5 days, would you still want to compete against potentially 6,000 homes for sale in the spring or the 2,000 homes for sale now, if you knew that nobody and nothing would disturb you at your request?
I've used that one and I've used this one. So top agent alternative.
Let's get a jump start on our competition. Why not complete the paperwork now? I'll get the flyer made and paperwork processed, and we'll line up buyers. So when you're ready, we'll be ready ahead of the others who are just getting started. We're getting close. Oh.
Yep, only 8 more on the list. So let's see, number 34 is we're already committed to another agent. Great, so have you signed a listing agreement? Well, no. Okay, so you're not committed, you just promised, right? You know, I really don't care if you list your house with me. If you're thinking of interviewing more agents for the job of selling your home, it is vitally important that you understand the different marketing approaches so that you don't get burned the next time. You don't want to get burned again, do you? So let me ask you this. Do you know the difference between passive and active marketing? And you're like, oh my God, is he really doing this one again? It is huge because they start to then, I promise you, if they're interviewing you and another person, they're going to go, so do you do passive or active marketing? And someone's going to be like, what are they talking about? And they're going to completely fall on their face. So passive marketing is basically sitting around doing nothing, like holding open houses, sending out flyers, or advertising in the newspaper. Did your last agent use any of these methods? Yeah, I was afraid of that. These methods have been ineffective, yet your last agent sold it to you as it was the answer to all of your problems, right? Do you understand what I mean by passive? Basically sitting around with your fingers crossed, waiting for the buyer. Active marketing, on the other hand, is literally getting on the phone every single day and personally contacting as many as I can, 25, 50, even 100 a day. The key is asking them if they would like to buy your home, if they know someone who would like to buy your home, or if they would personally like to sell their house. Do you know why I ask if they would like to sell their home? Because the more signs I have, the more buyer's calls I get to show your home. That makes sense, doesn't it? Now, which way, passive or active, do you believe will get more homes sold? And you understand that I'm doing active marketing on you as we speak, right? So it again goes back to that process of understanding that when I give the comparison between passive and active marketing, that's what we call a future pace. Basically, what my objective is to cut the other agents off at the kneecaps by educating the customers to realities of the marketplace. Now, when they are sitting in front of the other agent, what questions are they going to ask, right? How many people do you call every day? A top agent alternative to this one is also make sure you've made the right commitment by seeing me and then making your decision. If they have better qualifications than me, you can go ahead and list with them. Here's one off the list. What is this, an objection or a condition? Let's see. So Chelsea, we want to wait for the market to come back before we try and sell it again.
Can you get around the fact that they don't want to sell? No, but you may want to keep digging and see if they have an underlying motivation that we don't know about that is forcing them to sell now. The fact is, if you don't know how to match people's communication patterns, they oftentimes won't feel comfortable telling you the truth, so you need to dig more.
Top agent alternative.
In today's economy, the market is going to do one of two things: either remain the same or continue to go down. So you see, waiting just doesn't help, does it?
Again, that would be one that would have happened in, say, 2007 or 2008. Not really something that we see in today's market, yet we have swings in the market. So having this already in your back pocket for when it does happen can be helpful. Let's see, 36, I'm getting a lot of interested buyers through my house. I think I'll be able to sell in a week. So what do I need you for? Well, you can tell that this is a condition, right? If they can sell it themselves, why do they need you? All you can say is this: if you don't sell it, When will you be interviewing agents for the job of selling your home? And then from that point, we just continue to follow up. Here's one you get during a negotiation. So Chelsea, this offer is too low. We're going to wait for a more reasonable offer.
99% of the time, the first offer is your best. Are you willing to roll the dice for a 1% chance?
Top agent alternative.
We're lucky to have an offer in today's economy. We could wait and maybe there'll be another offer, but it may take 4 months, 6 months, maybe even more. And even then, the offer could be even lower.
Absolutely. 38. You've lowered our price 3 times already and it's still not sold. How can you possibly ask us to drop our prices again? Your frustration is valid. I mean, the marketplace is slipping out from underneath you. So let me ask you this. When your neighbor's home, which is exactly the same model as yours, sells for $5,000 less than you are asking, who would pay more? Even more importantly, there are 3 other properties on the market just like yours. One property is listed $1,000 less than yours, another is $2,000 more than yours, and the last one is $1,500 less than yours. If anybody is going to be buying a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a 2-car garage, it will be the home that is priced the lowest. You hired me to tell you the truth and to get your home sold. If I can sell it for more, don't you think I want a higher commission? I'm sorry reality is so painful. If you would like, we could cancel our listing agreement and I could give you the names and numbers of a couple agents that specialize in overpricing homes that never sell. Is that what you want, or do you still want to work with someone that is on your side and tells the truth? At which point they may throw out the next objection on our list. So Chelsea, if we lower the price any lower, we won't have enough equity to move.
Which again, we must resort to touching their motivational buttons. Let me demonstrate the what's important about questions for you. What's important about moving?
I've got a new job that I have to get to.
A new job, that's great. So how's that important to you? You know, the new job, I mean, what will that do?
Well, I get to make more money and I'll also be able to give my family the life that it wants.
So you're going to make more money and give your family a better life. That's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So ultimately, you're working at your new job, making lots of money. You're providing a great life for your family. What will all of this do for you?
I don't know. I guess it'll just make me happy.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Yeah.
So fortunately, to get you one step closer, just being happy, you're providing a great life for your family and you're making lots of money at your new job. All we need to do now is simply make the sacrifice and lower your price. So then I can help you get what you want in the time that you want. Won't that be great?
Yes, I guess that's what we have to do. Top agent alternative.
If you really need to move, you'll have to adjust your expectation level for your new destination. I can help you find something suitable. By the time your equity flows in your current home, prices will be higher everywhere else and you'll have the same problem.
Top agent alternative.
Buyers don't care what you're going to net. Will you be concerned about what your seller nets when you purchase?
Now we've made it to the last objection on the infamous list. It is a price reduction objection that they say. So we have a unique home. The right buyer just hasn't come through yet. You're right. You do have a unique home, and I hate to tell you this, but at this price, we will never get the right buyer in here. Can I tell you why? Because 90% of all buyers are represented by real estate agents. And real estate agents will qualify the buyer to find out how much they want to spend, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what amenities they want, and so on. The problem is that the unique qualities of your home do not show up on the computer where real estate agents get their information. Meaning that based on your price, the number of rooms, baths, and amenities, you will not get anybody through here, no matter how hard I market to these agents. In their mind, it isn't the best buy on the market. They feel they are not serving their clients. Do you see my point? Top agent alternative, it says, that's the very reason you need me to maximize your exposure and get enough buyers through that will ferret out the buyer looking for something different. Buyers aren't looking for a unique home. They're looking for the best priced homes. So are you getting the picture? You can handle almost any objection that you come across if you simply practice using the patterns. Always, always, always agree with your prospects that their concern is valid using, I appreciate that. I agree. I understand. That's a valid concern. Tell me things like, most of my customers bring up the exact point just before they list their homes with me. Then remember, never, never, never use the word but. It basically tells a prospect that they are wrong. And if you tell them that they are wrong, then they will naturally look for how you are wrong. And that's the last thing that you want to happen. Use the word and to transition into your objection handling patterns. That way, after you tell the prospect that their concern is justified or basically okay, they will look for how you are justified in what you say to them. Always remember to use basic human nature to your advantage. So now that you've validated your prospect and you're using the word and to transition, you can use one of these three patterns to handle the objection. First of all, always break the generalization down to the specifics using reverse inductive logic or anti-cause and effect logic. Use the pattern what specifically causes you to believe, especially when they say things like your office is so small, or we were thinking of listing with a larger office with more agents. You can say what specifically causes you to believe that a larger office has a better chance of selling your home than a smaller one. This way, your prospect can tell you what they are really thinking, and you can gently show them how they have been misinformed. The second pattern we need to review is how your prospect's past experience to your advantage. You say, has there ever been a time when, then explain a similar situation. Get agreement that they have, in fact, been in that similar situation before. Tell them this time is just like that time, basically tying the past and the future together for them. And finally, explaining just how this time and last time are the same. The last pattern we can use is level shifting, which is basically telling the prospect something like, I hear what you're saying about the price being a little low, and I think what we're really talking about here is freedom. Then you go on to show them how you can provide them that freedom and how that freedom overshadows the pricing difference. So those are the 40 objections that we get most common. You can definitely see how those are going to show up over and over and over again. Again, in the chat box is the link to the Google document. So please go and access that. It's a PDF. In the Google Drive, you'll be able to go under File and just make a copy, making sure that you have one in your library. This link isn't going to expire anytime soon, so as long as you have it, you will have access to it. But if you want to have your own version of it, I suggest that you do that. Chelsea, thank you so much for participating. And for those of you that were on here, I hope that this is helpful. We'll also have this as a recording for others to be able to look at later. We're 2 minutes over, so I'm going to give you back your afternoon, and I'll see most of you tomorrow for Ignite.